ladies and gentlemen, Myke B, exploring gender identities through poetry.
Well, let's see. Can everybody hear me okay? Yeah. Very good. I think it's perfect. There are things in life, complex things, that cannot be expressed in simple terms. Some things can only be expressed through art. So I would like to preface the next 6 or so minutes where I will share some stories on gender and gender identity with an excerpt of the poem What He Thought by Heather McHugh. What's poetry? Is it the fruits and vegetables and marketplace at Campo dei Fiori, or the statue there? And because I was the glib one, I identified the answer almost instantly. I didn't have to think. The truth is both. It's both. I blurted out, but that was easy. That was the easiest to say. What followed taught me something about difficulty. For our underestimated host spoke out, and all of a sudden, with a rising passion, he said, "The statue represents Giordano Bruno, brought to be burned in the public square because of his offense against authority, which was to say the church. His crime was the belief the universe does not revolve around the human being. God is no fixed point or central government, but rather is poured in waves through all things move. If God is not the soul itself, he is the soul of the world." Such was his heresy. The day they brought him forth to die, they feared he might incite the crowd. The man was famous for his eloquence. And so his captors placed upon his face an iron mask in which he could not speak. And that is how they burned him. That is how he died, without a word, in front of everyone. And poetry, we all put down our forks by now to listen, the man in gray, he went on softly, poetry is what he thought, but did not say. Now, keep that in mind because I want to invite you to join me in exploring the concept of gender through some of my own poetry. So let's start with gender as a performance, the idea that gender is an act, or better said, a role that we as a society partake in, whether we mean to or not. Let me explain with the rhyme of the circus clown. A harried fool gets ready to perform again. Smearing his face with white base and blush, he chants. Time spent in self-reflection is not spent in vain. Pulling from the mirror with a sigh of disdain, he quails before the porcelain queen who supplants his self. She is ready to perform once again. Question flees between her teeth. Can we maintain this mask of ours? Indignant, the fool stomps and pants, cursing his reflection. This time, though, is spent in vain, for the more they say daggers, the less they are sane. Failing to hide both face and mind, their mask recants. Is this the famed fool performing again, or some amalgam their body cannot contain? A black-tinged tear traces their cheek as it decants their self and shatters their reflection. All in vain? Hey, Earth the Clown, come out to entertain. With a flick of his whip, the ringmaster enchants the crowd, rallying Pierrot to perform once again, and all that self-reflection is time spent in vain. Now, with this idea in mind that gender is an act, a role that we as a society perform on the daily, consider what I said earlier. We partake in this performance whether we like to or not. So think about yourself when you were young, the things that your friend and family said were befitting of you as a man or as a woman. It could be clothes, hobbies, or the like. Everyone at some point has had this role of gender pushed onto you and likewise onto somebody else. Now, it's all well and good if you feel like you are fit for the role. You may have been born a man who likes manly things, but what about those who don't fit the role? What about those whose personal identity conflicts with the role that society created for them? And well, I can tell you from experience that it can be very haunting, and almost as if someone's stalking you from the corner of your eye. Allow me to illustrate with beware the man inside your reflection. He may be in your home, in the mirror's fringe, watching you while you change, feeding off your fear. He may hop on your train with a niggling sneer that grips your soul and forcing your face to cringe. At work, he may crawl inside your skin, impinge on your monitor's reflection. So don't you dare peer into his gaze, for he may whisper in your ear, "No matter where you go, I'll be oh so near." You and I, one and the same, never forget. Regardless of how sweet your voice becomes or how plump your chest and hips in time will grow, you must concede this self. So don't object to your nature, and you might as well give up, because my grip around your neck won't ever let you go. So, to bring us back, you see how this very abstract idea is starting to materialize as some sort of emotion, at least in this case as discomfort, very deep discomfort, or dysphoria. And now I'd like to kind of introduce the idea of gender as something malleable, non-binary, and fluid. Mind you, it's not a new idea by any stretch of the imagination. It's just the case that binary gender norms have dominated for the past few centuries. But, and bear with me here, take for instance Japan in the 1600s. You see, during the Edo period, young men became wakashu. It's a third gender of sorts in Japanese society, and I'd like to explore that here with fluidity. As tantalizing as the fervid den of breeding snakes, gilded swirls bloom from the form-fitting folds of her yukata, pale like spring sky. Look, Mama, isn't she so pretty? The rhythmic swaying of her hips was as gentle as morning waves. In tandem trailed her tan hinoki fan, picturing the setting sun, grossly incandescent behind blades of Suzuki grass. Trailing the fluttering fan, lips as red as cherry blew the young girl a kiss. But alas, the fleeting kiss flew far past the curious little lady. Don't, can't you see that's a man? The young girl's mother dragged her away, taunting the dancer as if trying to punish insolence with a glare. Still, the dancer twirled and served a soft smile. They have laid with enough men to know they are not some barren man, laid with enough women to consign themselves to such a brutal mold. They are a performer. They are the shine in the gilded robes, the grace of dance, and their self lives in the sweet scent of incense and the waves of a lake, even in the gasps of fleeting lovers. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what the dancer thought, but did not say. Now, these poems, all these stories, they aim to illustrate what it means to be someone who is gender non-conforming. They aim to show you what gender really is and how your gender identity is shaped by the perceptions of ourselves and the people around us. So please keep an open mind, keep asking questions, and thank you very much for listening.
Myke B, everybody. Myke B.